Okay, so hello to everyone on week 135 in the Real DVD Watchers. And this week I'm reviewing a film. I don't really know which day this is going to be though, because I kind of forgot. So it's either going to be late Sunday or I might post it, see if I can post it on Wednesday. Um, so yeah, anyway, this week I'm reviewing a film which has just been getting shit on by everyone and their dog as of late because it just came out here on Friday, and yes, that movie is Green Lantern. Now, Green Lantern, I feel a little more qualified, I guess, to review Green Lantern because I know the character a little better than say I did with Thor. So, I've read some Green Lantern comics. I've seen Green Lantern in various forms of animation, television stuff over the years. So I do feel a little more, I guess, qualified if you want to throw that out that word. I guess I feel a little more comfortable, maybe even talking about Green Lantern. And yeah, so basically everyone was shitting on it, saying it's a bad film, and I'd wanted to see it. I've wanted to see a Green Lantern film for years. Something other than Superman or Batman. And I was gonna see this regardless. And then I saw the bad reviews. And it's like shit. It's not good. So I was still like, I'm seeing it for myself. The only way I can judge it is to see it for myself. So I went there last night, and it wasn't. I'm gonna say this now. It was not the greatest comic book film I've ever seen. It's also not the worst, such as other people are saying. It was a good film. It was good. It wasn't great by any means, but it was good. And I think, well, one of the only ways you can do this, because you couldn't have done this film 20 years ago, you couldn't have done it. And, you basically have to wait for the technology to be available. So that's why so much of this film is CGI. Like it's just made up, like all these worlds and like the stuff with the rings. It's gotta be CGI. There ain't no two ways about it. And they did that here, and they spent like a fuckload of money doing this. Like when the first trailer came out, it was like oh, they're bad effects, and then apparently Warner Brothers was gonna spit out like 10 million more dollars just to like polish them up. But sometimes the effects look really great, and then there's other times where they're very dodgy. Like this one scene where Hal is flying, and he's like kind of doing like Superman fly, and his head is the only his head really looks weird. Like it really looks like it's on like a green screen. It was bad in that part, and there were a few other parts where it's just like, eesh, it's a little dodgy, but you have to respect what they did. I mean, I don't really think anyone else have the balls to like do a like full on CGI costume in that. Which with Hal's costume, I thought the mask looked stupid. It looked very awkward. Um, and let's actually talk about Hal a little bit, because I've got notes. Uh, Ryan Reynolds was cast to play Hal, and originally, I was not very happy with that because, like many others, I thought Ryan Reynolds would make a much better Kyle Rayner than he would Hal Jordan. I mean, I wanted Nathan Fillion as Hal Jordan, and I think the closest we'll ever get to that is the animated movie Emerald Knights, where he voices Hal Jordan. Yeah, so I wanted Fillion, but I think Reynolds does a decent job. I mean, he, Ryan Reynolds is like really well known for playing like the smart ass characters and doing comedy, like doing like funny stuff like that. And that's kind of what he does for a bit here. And a lot of people were complaining about that, saying it wasn't Hal. It, you know, and certainly with the Green Lantern stuff that I've read, it's not so much like Hal's a little more responsible than that. But you just have to think like in the context of the movie, like and even in like the comics, like I don't know Hal Jordan's earlier stuff in the comics, but like he is a test pilot, and here's a test pilot, and he's a young test pilot, and being that he's gonna be cocky, he's gonna be an asshole. So it's kind of nice to see him kind of start out as the asshole and by the end of the film kind of come to be the Hal Jordan that I know a little better. And you know that was interesting, and he's kind of got this whole story arc with his father, which is like right out of the comics as well. I think comic book fans that really, I can't really see a whole lot of them hating it so much because they do take a lot from the comics, and I think it works very well. Then next up, we're going to talk about Blake Lively as Carol Ferris, and a lot of people may not know who Carol Ferris is. Well, Carol Ferris is basically Hal Jordan's Lois Lane, Iris West, Black Canary. That's she's like the love of his life basically. And a lot of people were criticizing it because it was Blake Lively. And I know when I hadn't even heard of Blake Lively before this, and I was like, oh, she's from Gossip Girl. She's not going to do a good job. Then I saw The Town, and I was like, this girl can act. She did a great job in The Town, and here she didn't. It wasn't a super strong performance, but I still really liked her. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate her performance. You know, she could have um, she could have shown a little more emotion. I think she just kind of and a lot of the film is centered around her and Hal. So it's a little disappointing that she didn't really get into it a little more. But we can learn. She can learn from her mistakes. Then you've got the character Sinestro, who we all know is basically like Hal Jordan's arch nemesis, but he didn't start out that way. He started out as a good guy, and I just thought in this film he was criminally underused, like with a lot of the other characters. Like Kilowog and Tomar Ray, they didn't get a whole lot of screen time, and neither did Sinestro, which really sucks. But hopefully, with the sequel, if they make a sequel, who knows what at this point. But hopefully, Sinestro will have more of a main role as opposed to just kind of a side character who gets pushed off when the main action starts. And I kind of want to talk about the villains more. Parallax, straight, Parallax, Hector Hammond, both straight out of the comics. But Parallax, I didn't really care for the way Parallax looked. He was kind of like the big, giant, cloudy, yellowish tentacle thing. I didn't like. Hector Hammond was good though. Uh, Peter Sarsgaard, who played Hector Hammond, I thought he was good. Although I did not buy him and Tim Robbins as father and son. No, they looked like they literally just a couple they just didn't. Peter Sarsgaard did not look like Tim Robbins' son. I did not buy it for 1 second. Um, then another problem I have with the film is the fact that it's too short. It only clocks in at hour 45 minutes or something like that. I with as epic as they made it sound and look, you figured this was going to be like a 2 hour, 2 hour plus sci-fi space epic, and it wasn't that. And it did feel a little rushed in some places, and I think they could have used that extra time to kind of flesh out the characters a little more and maybe do a little more story wise. Uh, but yeah, that's basically all I can say about Green Lantern for right now because it's still, I just saw it last night and it's still kind of processing, but for the most part, I did like it, and I'm just repeating myself, but I'm not, you know, it wasn't, it's not the worst comic book movie ever made. I mean, when you've got shit like X-Men Origins Wolverine, Jonah Hex, and stuff like that out there, you can't call Green Lantern the worst because it's not. So, um, yeah. Anyway, that's basically it for me. I'm gonna stop rambling because I could kind of go on forever. But basically, in the comments, just if you saw the film, feel free to disagree with me. Agree, add more points. I'd like to know. So anyway, out of 10, I think I'm going to give this film a I'm gonna give it a 6 to 6.5. You know, I want to give it a 7, but you know, it's between a 6 and a 7. I'm gonna say I don't want to rank it too short, but anyway, basically until next time, I'll see you guys and just do what you do and have a good one.